Alright, so this is the iPhone 12 Pro, a flagship from the past, and today we're going to see whether or not it can still cut it in 2024. Let's get into it. Alright, design-wise, this is one of the few instances where I really don't mind Apple's recycling of their phone designs from the last few years, as this phone honestly doesn't look much different from any of the newer iPhones. You get Corning Gorilla Glass sandwiched between stainless steel bezels. It all feels very premium, even in 2024, owing to the fact that the design language really hasn't changed much since 2020. I also like that the camera bump isn't as pronounced on this older iPhone as opposed to the newer models, which more closely resemble that of a stovetop. The buttons here feel solid. Alright, so performance here is good. The A14 Bionic chip holds up pretty well with iOS 17. Then again, this has always been Apple's bread and butter. The A14 chips were stellar when new, and even now when paired with Apple's well-optimized OS, this phone pretty much runs like it did when new. Most games I tried also ran pretty well, with moving in and out of apps feeling smooth and minimal lag and stutters all around. Overall, performance here was solid, and it really does remind you of what a flagship the 12 Pro was when it came out. The screen here is sharp with good viewing angles. It is a smaller screen at 6.1 inches, so pixel density isn't too much of an issue. It is, however, a 60Hz screen, and this is where the 12 Pro starts to show its age. I've been so used to 120Hz screens for a while now that this was the biggest adjustment I had to make when using this phone, as it felt a little jittery to use. If you are upgrading from an older phone, however, this won't be much of an issue. Screen brightness here is okay, with outdoor visibility being possible. Now moving on to the camera system, you get a triple camera setup, a 12 megapixel f1.6 wide, a 12 megapixel f2.0 telephoto, and a 12 megapixel f2.4 ultra wide, with a TOF 3D LiDAR scanner, which aids with AR. Now up front, you get a 12 megapixel f2.2 wide sensor. Now the camera system does feature HDR. Photos here are solid for the most part. Give this phone decent lighting and you will get good quality photos. Dynamic range is also good, with decent exposure in most shots. The colors feel true to life, with photos retaining a good amount of detail for subjects and accompanying landscapes. Thanks to Apple's great computational photography, the older gen camera system is still able to take solid photos. The types of photos you can take with this phone are definitely still possible for social media. Low light scenarios are where this phone tends to struggle. I found that low light shots are okay, but you definitely notice the age of this phone here in low light scenarios. Alright, the final aspect of this phone I want to talk about is battery life. Now this is important for any device, especially an older one that you may pick up secondhand. Now when brand new, I got around 5 hours with moderate to heavy usage on the 12 Pro. This iPhone's capacity is at 87%, and I found that while I was still able to get around 4-ish hours depending on what I was doing. Now, how does this compare to newer smartphones? Well, not great, but it is a smaller and more compact phone with a measly 2815 milliamp hour battery, so you can't really expect much here. Alright, so what are my final thoughts on the iPhone 12 Pro? Well, I gotta say, the truth is that this phone definitely does show its age, with the battery life and the screen refresh rate being the greatest giveaway. Now, with all of that being said, I will say this. If you are, however, someone who actually doesn't consider themselves a power user, and you don't mind the average camera system, and you're not really looking for the most fluid feeling display, then I think that this could actually be a genuine option to look into. Because if you have an older iPhone like an X or any of the later models, then I definitely feel like this would be a worthwhile upgrade that won't really break the bank. Now out here in New Zealand, I was able to find secondhand iPhone 12 Pros at my local retailers, whether it was in store or online. I was able to find them for around about 400 USD, and these were iPhones that were in great condition and had a battery capacity of around 90 to 100%. And this is honestly the most important part should you take this route. No matter what secondhand iPhone you actually go for, always make sure that the battery capacity is at least at 85%. Now you obviously want to make sure that the phone itself is in great condition, and this is the body, the screen, the camera system, all of that needs to be physically in good condition, but the battery life is honestly a really important factor here as well. Now I also feel that if you are a parent and have teenagers, students that may be looking to upgrade their old phones, and they've been brought up in the Apple ecosystem and might want an iPhone, then I do think that this is a solid option to look into that, again, won't break the bank. So yeah, this has been my take on Apple's iPhone 12 Pro in 2024. I hope you were able to take away something from this video. Thanks again for tuning in. Like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, for now, looks like we're out of time, so I'll catch you guys in the next one.